On April 9th, 2019, a user on the infamous social networking platform known as Discord, who refers to himself as The Gathering, created a server with a couple of his closest acquaintances. Unbeknownst to these individuals, this would mark the beginning of the most intricate and bewildering series of events that the internet has ever seen. Of course, you may be asking yourself, who are our initial protagonists? Well, allow me to introduce you to The server humbly began as a place where our heroes can play simple games of Minecraft, hide-and-seek, and PvP duels. We also can't forget Rainbeck's truly brilliant mathematical discussions. Now, between their gaming sessions and Rainbeck's intellectual conversations, not much happened on the server. It was slow, with people joining to play once every few days. This stage of the server's history was exceptionally boring, however, and it lasted almost a year. So while I'm not going to go over everything that happened here, I will give you a basic summary, alright? Throughout this entire year, the most interesting thing that happened is Max's and Rainbeck's discussion on whether coconuts are mammals or fruits. There was also this image that I found. Thank you, Rainbeck. Thank you very much. We now move on to the next period in the server's evolution. The server then underwent a very substantial and dramatic change with the arrival of a very important individual. While nothing really significant happened during this age, there were a few notable events. For example, this was the first time a poll was conducted on the server, and it was also the first time that Shahir used 02 gifts. But besides that, nothing really happened. People were still pretty dead, and it looked like the server was going towards its inevitable downfall. The rise of Among Us is what changed the server from a simple study group to a cultural phenomenon. This age was enormous and saw the largest expansion that the server has ever seen. Spending only over a few months, the server saw an incredible 40,000 messages in the general chat alone, compared to the total 66,000 messages at the time of recording. Since this era was so active, it encompassed several major historical events that we will look over one at a time. These epic gaming sessions were now a regular event that happened daily on the server. They all began at a consistent 4:30 PM and saw us failing at the game for about 2 to 4 hours. It was in these 2 months where some of the most prominent regulars arrived. This is when both Chavez and Taha joined the server. However, after about a month and a half of playing, it was a common realization that some people became insufferable to play with, trying to turn every game into a 10,000 IQ Among Us moment. For example, here is an actual clip I found of Shahir playing a casual game. shortly after this that we stopped playing the game. But before we can continue, we need to talk about server admins. Now, for many of you watching at home, this may be quite before the time you joined, so let me go back on some history first. Now, the first admin on the server was yours truly, and I created the now infamous Dank Memes channel, which of course is commonly well known today for its comedic ingeniousness, brought upon by people such as Max. Thank you, Max, for this incredible specimen right here. But of course, we're not here to look at the future of Max's stand-up routine. So let's get back on track. It was at this point when people wanted to have admin for themselves, and because of this, Rainbic had to find a solution to give people admin. Now, while most servers would do this in a slow progression, they would let people make relations to other members of the server, they would build their way through the social hierarchy, and they'll be introduced to moderation tactics that will help the server grow as intended. Our server, however, operated under the Darwinian system. To get admin, you had to forcibly set your place in the social structure and make a deal with the devil himself in a game of Russian roulette. The fact that anyone could become an admin obviously led to some great shenanigans, the most infamous of which being the Squidward incident of 2020. People got tired of this, however, and the first admin election took place in late November of 2020. This one was very boring, however, and all you need to know for this one here is that Shahir won this one with Max coming in a close second for sub-admin. So despite this event not being too consequential, it did lay the groundwork for the most convoluted and important series of events that this server has ever seen. Before we can even begin to explain the entirety of the Lim Incident, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, the inciting incident that started this entire event. And as with most things, it was Rainbic. It all began on December 7th, 2020, when Rainbic decided to create a grand ploy to see who is a snake and who is not a snake. This grand plot involved giving me ownership of the server, and seeing who would jump at the opportunity to ban Rainbic over and over again. As many of you guys know, this particular individual is Shahir, and he was given the snake role and publicly shamed for weeks on end for his snakening. As a mature lad, how could he let it rest? Now, this being Shahir, he obviously could not let this rest, so he decided to come to me for assistance. Since we knew about the upcoming admin elections on the 25th, we decided this would be a perfect way to get back out of spite. Our goal was simple: completely rig the election so that no one else could win, with the full plan being complete political domination of the server. Now, of course, rigging an election for something that people care about, such as an admin election, is going to make a lot of people hate you, so we decided we wouldn't do this on our own account, but instead we would have to create an alt account. Now, of course, you guys made our job a lot harder here because you guys are trained like goddamn bloodhounds to sniff out our alts. So our first question we had to answer is, how do we create credibility for our alternative account? And our answer? We use someone else more credible than ourselves to confirm the existence of this person. Now, who is the most credible person on the entire server? Why, of course, it's Chavez. And so the character Liam, who, by the way, is a real person who is in both Chavez, or I guess was in both Chavez's and my English class, became the persona for this alternative account. Now, the next part of this video is going to go over the 4 different diagrams and charts that we made to go over every variable in the election so we could completely control everything. But as you can imagine, that is exceptionally boring and nobody really cares. So instead, I handed the script over to Shahir, and he basically tells you all you needed to know about the election.
We had 4 total documents that were created for this election. The first document was a list of everyone on the server.
Man, fuck this shit, bro. This is whack. Screw that, bro. Are you dumb? Nah. Shit, this is hard. Hey, yo, edit this, please. Fuck, my God.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's true. Be back.
100%. Now we may continue. Okay, basically, it's Lee, bro. George sent me 4 paragraphs on why you're all bitch asses, bro. So basically, we made a pie chart to see if you're guaranteed. Bro, if you would vote for us, then you straight. Simple as that, right? If you vote, you straight. Now, the second document, right? This, we went over the ops, bro. Competition, bro. Right, and the thing is, we didn't have much. We had a little sorry-ass gnome, bro. Not really much of a threat, if I'm gonna be honest. Nonetheless, we still put his supporters to the gay meter, bro. We put him to the gay chart, bro. Alright, so the third document, right? We made gay meter 2.0. That's right. You heard me right, bro. We made gay meter 2.0. You're like, how could it get better? I'll tell you. We went, bro, the main difference between game meter 1 and game meter 2, we went through the bias, bro. And you're like, how do we go through a bias is a new way? Are you mad? Bro.
As you can tell, this election was heavily taxing on all of our sanities, and it didn't even matter in the end because the O4 Council just came in and just rigged the vote so hard we didn't even need any spreadsheets. Now, instead of properly enacting our plot to get Liam as owner after admin elections, the entire server sort of went into a state of anarchy. This is when both the Parawig Alert was made, and we bullied Taha for days on end, man. I'm sure he enjoyed that. And it's also when Liam went on a fucking rampage against Ben. With all these things happening, owner elections were just all too easy, and I adopted Kale as my admin, with me operated as supreme dictator.
You agreed to
give the O4 Council admin after elections.
I lied, as I have from the very beginning.
Now, nobody really cares what happens next, and also Taha is making his video, so maybe he'll cover more recent shit. But besides that, I'll be signing off.
I'm just looking for each second, so I'm just going to call you. Somebody thinks you each say something new. I like it's going to call you. My life will change it, say, with mom and dad in China, boy. I'm just looking for each second, so I like it's going to call you. I'm call you.